This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How about it? A nice series win at Comerica Park on a Sunday afternoon. The long ball, the Tigers offense coming to play. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. Thanks so much for making the Locked On Tigers postcast your first listen each and every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, on YouTube, it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. A series win, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. Kerry Carpenter, huge day at the plate. And Riley Greene, is he breaking out of that funk that he was in? Casey Mize picks up his 11th win. And oh yeah, we'll have our biggest talking point, our turning point, and of course, our player of the game. So buckle up, dial it in. Your comments always welcome on the Locked On Tigers postcast. Would love to hear your thoughts, and let's have ourselves a little Sunday afternoon show here as the Tigers get set to hit the road for some important division games against the White Sox and then, of course, the Minnesota Twins. But we'll talk about that towards the end. Right now, we begin where we always do, our biggest talking point, our biggest takeaway from today. And if you were to tell a friend about today's game, what would you say?
This is what you'll be talking about.
Kerry Carpenter has been such a lift to this team since coming off the injured list, and the pop that he provides and the power that he provides. And yes, I know the discussion of letting him hit against lefties is ongoing and so on and so forth. But on a day like today, where Kerry Carpenter is responsible for 4 runs batted in and the swing that really broke it open with the 3-run bomb that opened it up, you just can't say enough about the value that he brings to this team. And that home run, and albeit, Riley's home run in the 6th provided what proved to be some necessary insurance with the Angels, to their credit, not giving up with that, with their offense, always trying to stay into the game and whatnot. But the home run from Kerry Carpenter, the 3-run bomb in the bottom of the 4th to make it 7-0. That's the kind of kick the feet up. I mean, from a viewer's perspective, obviously not the guys on the team, but you get up 7-0 and you feel like you're going to win most of those games. And on a further note, this Tigers team jumping on the opposition early and often, so crucial. I mean, you heard the stat if you're watching the broadcast, this Tigers team 23-6 when they have a lead after the first inning of play. And those are just staggering numbers and more of what this team represents as far as who they've been over the larger portion of this season compared to relatively more recently in the bit of a funk that they've been in post All-Star game. But all of that to say, hey, you need a series win. You went out there and you got it today. A lot of different guys contributed up and down that batting order. Mize wasn't special by any means, just the 5 innings, but he's going to pick up his 11th win. And again, if you were to tell me at the beginning of the season, Casey Mize would be 11-4 and a part of this team that is in first place, obviously we would all sign up for that. But Casey Mize today, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and the 2 walks. He did strike out 5. He gave up that 1 home run. So team effort, as I mentioned, up and down that batting order. A couple of guys with some production at the top of the order. Gleyber Torres with a couple of walks that really helped this team. He had the RBI single as well. And Riley Greene, I mentioned, despite the slump that he's in, or was in, that was, unfortunately far longer than anybody would have hoped or expected to see. He's starting to bust out of it. 3 more hits yesterday and today with the 2 hits and a home run. Riley Greene with the RBI single early as well. So I think you see enough from a guy like Riley Greene today where you can feel confident that he's breaking out of that slump, or at least he's in a much, much better place and a much better mental spot at the plate than he was in previous games, because it got pretty ugly there for a while. All right. We're keeping an eye. It sucks that we have to keep an eye on the Cleveland Guardians, because that was a lead that felt like we would never have to look back to where they were. as far as the standings, but we, I believe the White Sox were beating them the last I checked, but I can get a live update on that and see where they're at in their game, because the Tigers have to pay attention to what the Guardians are doing. And that did go final. So you got the White Sox beating the Guardians 6-4. Great stuff there. Of course, the White Sox, the Tigers' next opponent. All right, let's go ahead and get into some comments. Fishy is up next. Fishy all back on track. And says Carp was a dog. Indeed, he was. Sean Gray says, hopefully Greene gets going now. Indeed. Demetrius McNeil, he was at the game. Hell yeah. He says, I'm still undefeated at the Tigers games this year. 5-0. DJ, play that song. Nah, there you go. Demetrius, you got to go to every game then if you're 5-0 at every single game. Great stuff there. All right. A couple other comments to get into. DT Lions to, let's see what else we got. We got Gareth Writings, wonderful game played going into the White Sox series. Indeed. That's what you love to see. Brian Weems says Riley is knocking on the door. Hopefully this week he kicks it in. Indeed. Interesting comment here from Guy Merritt. Home plate ump actually spotted the Angels a run by calling a third strike on Trout a ball. Score was really 9-4. Yeah, home plate umpiring wasn't great for either team. I would agree. Rich chiming in 9 runs, and I'm still holding my breath with this bullpen. When is he not using Herter much anymore? Yeah, Herter is not a guy that AJ Hinch is calling on with regularity, and you saw Montero go in there and really, I would say, struggle, not have the ability to command the baseball with. Was evident in the walks that he gave up in the runs there. So you hope that perhaps this bullpen can find a way. Listen, I get fired up sometimes, and I wish I had a way of articulating the struggles of this bullpen without getting fired up. But Tommy Kahnle struggles again today, and there's just not anyone that this Tigers team can go to that you feel confident in the bullpen. I mean, look, I guess Will Vest getting back on track is important, but Montero gives up the 2 earned runs. Kahnle gives up an earned run in an innings pitch, and there's just nobody that strikes fear in the opposition coming out of that Tigers pen. And that's why no matter how good this team can be, there's always you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? Your Achilles heel. And unfortunately, it feels like that is inexplicably the bullpen with this Tigers team. No doubt about it. All right, Mark is up next. He says, so happy we got the W. Felt bad for Montero getting screwed by the ump, though. He struck out Trout twice, and both were called balls, led to 2 runs. Indeed, yeah, he got the short end of the stick there. And I won't disagree with that. Jason Walters says W, and thank you, Chicago. Absolutely. Ben Rise says, with the Guardians' loss, I'm regaining some breathing room. That's right. We love that. And by the way, with the amount of baseball, what did they say? 44 games left. It's still worth noting that 44 games left. This is a team in first place. And when I hate always going back to, when the season started, we would sign up for this, but we absolutely would. I mean, that being said, I'm really, really hopeful that this Tigers team can make all of our wishes come true. We'll put it that way, because I had such high hopes and high expectations for this Tigers team. All right, let's continue to cruise along here on a Locked On Tigers postcast on a Sunday afternoon, and appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to have our biggest turning point and, of course, our player of the game. That's all coming up next on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by our good friends at Game Day Hue. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and so is this hat I'm wearing. For the Locked On Tigers fans like me, this one hits the mark. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you, No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, and anywhere in between. This hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team's logo. It just adds to the lineup. I also like to wear this hat working out. I've worn it to tailgates, tee times, and just running errands. It is so versatile and always gets the compliments. And it's not just the hats. Check out the split shade gloves made for the golf course. The perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Check this out. Look at that. I wish it would lead to more birdies for me, but you get the idea. Terrific golf glove, very versatile. I love using it on the course. And right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. Today's episode is also brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. Listen up, August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on the MVP race. You know, maybe last year I went with Jared Goff for the MVP, had a pretty good season, but you got that hunch. Maybe you just feel like it's time to go all in on that. Crown your champion in August, or parlay your division winner dark horses. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. All right, the Tigers get the win and the series win over the Angels. We love to see that. 9-4 win today. 9-5 win, my apologies. I'm not ready to count that last run either. Everybody's on the same page with that. But let's go ahead and chop up our biggest turning point of this afternoon's game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I really do feel good about this team when they jump on the opposition early and have a lead early on. I mentioned the stat that was discussed on the broadcast earlier today of how good this Tigers team is when they score or have a lead after one inning of play. And the Riley Greene single in the home half of the first, that really just helped set the tone, because you got a guy like Riley Greene that's meant so much to this team that had been struggling so poorly and played so poorly rather over the course of a significant time sample. Then you add in the McKinstry single, and it's all of a sudden 2-0 early on, and this Tigers team was not looking back. Carpenter hit the sac fly in the third, and then in the fourth, they break it open with a 4-run fourth inning. So just the team's ability to jump on the opposition early and take advantage, and understanding, hey, this is a series you have to go out and win, and they did exactly that. Let's get into our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
It's Kerry Carpenter, and how good has he been since coming back from the injured list? 5 home runs in 12 games, and he provides the pop that this lineup needs. And in addition to that, I think he's a guy that brings so much to the table as far as a clubhouse guy. Guys like playing with him, and the 3-run bomb today, he just has that ability to break a game open with just one swing of the bat. So he's your player of the game today. And what a way to end this series for the Tigers before heading to Chicago and then Minnesota. So an important 7-game road trip, 3 with Chicago, 4 with Minnesota, all on the road. And this Tigers team needing to continue to keep pace in the in the division. And not only that, but continue to build that lead in the division, because they've seen that lead shrink down. So appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure. On Monday's pitching matchup, and don't forget the games in Chicago will be a little bit later. But the Tigers on Monday against the Chicago White Sox will have Chris Paddock going for the Tigers. White Sox have not announced a starter yet. Jack Flaherty will go on Tuesday against the White Sox, and then Tigers haven't announced their starter for Wednesday yet, the day game. It'll be a 2:10 start against the White Sox on Wednesday, and then Scuba will throw in the opener against the Minnesota Twins on Thursday. So thanks as always for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate you all so much, because there is no Locked On Tigers postcast without our dedicated, loyal audience. Make sure you check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. Like today's video, subscribe to Locked On Tigers. And if you are ready to get going on the NFL side of things, we've got the Locked On Lions show with Matt Derry and the Locked On Lions squad show with myself, Bradford Banta, and Natalie Kerwin. That airs Wednesdays as well as after the Lions preseason and then into the regular season games. So the post-game show just taking on a new format with a couple more voices on the show. So that'll be really good. All right. Thanks so much. As always, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Tigers win the series. They take 2 of 3 from the Angels with the 9-5 win today. Kerry Carpenter, your player of the game, 4 RBI, 3-run bomb. You'll love to see it from Kerry Carpenter. Thanks so much, and talk to you tomorrow night. Tigers hit the road for a 7-game road trip, beginning with 3 in Chicago. We'll have a live Locked On Tigers postcast for you after that one. Until then, have a wonderful afternoon.